Good morning. This is Jean Eaton, your practical privacy coach and practice management mentor with Information Managers. Now, just a reminder, I'm not a lawyer and I don't play one on TV. These are my recommendations based on my experience and research and not legal advice. My clinic has received a fax in error sent by another clinic. Is this a notifiable privacy breach under the new HIA regulations? Well, this is certainly an unauthorized disclosure. So let's take a look about how to analyze the type of breach and then whether or not you need to do the notification process. So in this circumstance, there's a Part A and a Part B. The sending custodian sent information about a patient that had identifying health information in it, and it was received by another custodian, but not the custodian that it was intended to receive it. So they sent a fax to the wrong clinic, but it did go to a clinic and a physician or a custodian did review the patient's information. So it is an unauthorized disclosure. Under the health information regulations, under Section 8.1, there is a reasonable basis to believe that the information has been or may be accessed or disclosed to a person. Well, that's true. We know that the other custodian did actually review the information. Now, we also need to assess the other circumstances where notification may be required. There might be a reasonable basis to believe that the information has been misused or will be misused. And that might include identity theft or committing a fraud or embarrassment or harm or affect the provision of health services. So in this case, those things probably don't apply. And the reason why notification may not be required in this circumstance is that we know that the information was received by another custodian. So somebody who is also subject to the confidentiality policies and procedures of the Health Information Act. So they accessed the information in a manner that was consistent with their role as a health service provider and didn't do it for an improper purpose. And we've got reason to believe that the other custodian hasn't used the information in any other way. They phoned the clinic to let the sending clinic know that the information was sent to the wrong place. And that's a really important step because the custodian who received the information needs to notify the other clinic that they've made a mistake. And they want to do that so that they can make sure that the sending clinic has properly completed their steps to provide health services for that patient. So if it was a referral request and it went to the wrong place, then we don't want the sending custodian to be waiting and waiting and waiting for a response that never got received by the proper custodian. So we want to make sure that the sending custodian knows that they sent it in error so that they can fix the mistake and provide the appropriate health services for the patient. Now, in this circumstance, notification is not required to the individual or the Minister of Health or the Office of the Information and Privacy Commissioner. So the sending custodian sent health information to a wrong custodian, not the intended custodian, but we have no reason to believe that that information will be misused. And in fact, the custodian that received the information has said that they will shred that information. So the sending custodian is the one who is responsible for managing that privacy breach. So the sending custodian needs to record that they had a privacy breach and the steps that they took to evaluate the risk of that privacy breach and whether or not a privacy breach mandatory notification trigger has been met. So in this case, the sending custodian will make a report internally to their own custodians and their own clinic to monitor all of those privacy breaches that happen in a clinic. So I recommend that you need to monitor all of the privacy breaches that happen in your clinic because you need to understand where the problems are and be able to track to make sure that those circumstances are not increasing in frequency so that you're getting less of privacy breaches rather than more privacy breaches. So I recommend that you use a spreadsheet to record each breach. Now, when you use the privacy breach report form that I provided to you in the membership, it makes it really easy to be able to document all of those good questions that you need to ask so that you can clarify exactly what happened in the incident, who reported the information, what did you investigate, what did you determine were the risks, and whether or not you determined that you had to provide notification to individuals. So in this circumstance, it is not a requirement to notify individuals about this privacy breach, but you must still record it in your clinic practices. And I suggest that this is being done by the privacy officer, or the privacy officer for the clinic has a way to record and report all of the privacy breaches that have been reported to them. Now, you can use a spreadsheet, and that's what I recommend, and that there is a way that you can download the privacy breach reporting form from the membership site as well. So yes, it is a privacy breach. It's not something that you need to notify to the Minister of Health and the Commissioner's office this time. But if you have the same type of a privacy breach happening on a regular basis and it's not getting fixed, you might find that you need to report it because you have a systematic error. And that over a period of time, you have many privacy breaches happening in the same way. So you need to be able to demonstrate that you're taking responsibility for these privacy breaches and preventing them from happening again. This is Jean Eaton, your practice management mentor and practical privacy coach. If you like this episode, please subscribe to this channel and add your honest feedback to the comments below so that people who like what you like can find this podcast.